My life is not glamorous as I feel right now, but I'm going to enjoy this. Hi, I'm Drew. If this is your first time here in my sewing room, on this channel, I document my journey of sewing vintage fashion in a modern way as a very new seamstress. If this is not your first time here, then welcome back to the sewing room. I'm glad you could be here for this video. It is a collaboration with another YouTuber who sews vintage fashion, Serena. We did the secret pattern challenge. So she selected a pattern for me and I selected a pattern for her. We both had no stipulations. The only thing we gave each other was our sizes, and that was it. And so she sent me this lovely pattern from the 1940s, I believe it is. It was a mail order pattern. It even had the original envelope. It is just so beautiful. It is something I definitely would have never chosen for myself. And so that made it a really great experience because I got to step out of my comfort zone in a lot of ways. Experience definitely challenged me, but I'm so glad to have done it. I am so glad to get to know her and to, at this point, call her a friend. And so I'm excited for that. I do hope that you check out her channel. She's one of the very first channels that I started watching here on YouTube. And so I'm going to link it here or wherever it shows up, but it will definitely be linked. So definitely check her out. She is so amazing. She has a lot of really cool maternity makes that she made from her last pregnancy and just a lot of cool tips and tricks on how to sew and wear and style vintage fashion. So check out my friend Serena's channel, and I hope you enjoy this. It has definitely been a great experience. I am super pleased with the outcome of the dress. As you'll see going through the process of making it, there were times when I was super frustrated or lacked the confidence that it took. I won't even say lack the skill, but lack the confidence to pursue those skills. And so some things turned out a little bit different from how they were intended to be. But overall, it was a super great experience. And she's releasing her video on the pattern I sent her today as well. So with all of that said, let's get into the process of making this gorgeous spring dress. As I said, it came in its original envelope, which was a really neat thing to have. It's a beautiful thing to receive as a gift. And so I opened it up and went through the instructions. It looked simple. It looked simple enough. I was a little intimidated by the collar. I'd never done a collar like this one before, and the few times I've done, well, the one other time I've done a Peter Pan collar, I kind of struggled with that, and so was a little intimidated by the collar. But other than that, I was excited to get into it and get started. And so, yeah. Okay, so then choosing the fabric, I chose this fabric with stretch because this pattern was actually a couple of sizes smaller than what I needed. So she asked, could I just do the full bust adjustment, which I was excited to do. I've never done one before, and I really wanted to give it a try. And so I watched a few videos on the process, and I got a little nervous again and a little intimidated by that. So I chose the stretch cotton fabric and thought that would perhaps give me those extra inches that I needed, since the pattern was a 14.5, and I'm more like a 16. In some vintage patterns, depending on like the year, I remember like they changed the sizes at a certain point. So in other years, I am 18, but 16, 18, those are my sizes. And of course, something else I learned was that most of the patterns are designed for B-cup bras. So in most cases, I probably do need to do a full bust adjustment. I just haven't tried yet, but I will do that soon. So I cut all of the pieces out of this stretch fabric that I got from Mood. This fabric is actually in one of my haul videos from last year when I was supposed to use it for something and never got around to it, but that's another story. So you see me here attempting to do tailor's tacks, which is something I've never done before, and I thought it would be cool to give it a try. And I did it for the front pieces of the bodice, and in the end, I figured it was just, maybe because it was the first time doing it and I was so slow, it was just more trouble than it was worth. The back pieces of the bodice, I chose not to do it. I just marked them with the chalk. So after assembling the bodice and stitching it all together, which was, of course, simple enough, I got that part together, it was time to work on the collar. The process looked pretty straightforward at first. You know, you just take the pieces and face it, of course. But there was this really cool detail of a piece that was supposed to go around the neck that would then fasten with a button. And I feel so bad that it is not here on this dress because it was such a beautiful detail. And it was probably a lot of the reason why Serena chose the pattern for me. And she hasn't seen this dress either, so I hope you're not too disappointed that it's not here. But I tried so hard. I tried for hours to get this to go right. And I just couldn't figure it out. The directions were super vague for me and confusing, and I just could never get it to look the way that it was supposed to look. So the collar, I felt, still definitely needed something to make up for it not having that beautiful detail that it was designed to have. So I added this cording, I guess, cording or piping, I'm not sure which it's called, but I added this around the collar, and it was my first time using that. And so I'm so pleased with the detail of this and how it came out. I didn't buy it with the intentions of putting it here. It was in my last video where I showed what I had purchased for the month, and I had it on hand, and I thought, why not finally give it a try? And so that's what I did. I think it came out beautiful. I love it. I am still disappointed that the detail that was intended to be here on the collar is not. And so once I got the cording or piping or whatever stitched on, it was time to attach it to the bodice. So I got that all pinned in place, and there was easing required, so it was a little bit of a process. I got it done and then realized I had not yet attached the front facing. So I had to take all of that off and start over. And so that was a thing. And I got a little confused there too for a minute on what was the front, what was the back, and what was supposed to be where. But I went through the motions of it and eventually got it figured out. So it wasn't that difficult, but like I said, there was just a few times during this process where I had these little roadblocks, and that definitely put me behind a lot because I kept putting the project down. I'm also in the middle of my sewing room renovation, so that is a whole another thing we will talk about another day. It's been chaos, so how I'm even still able to sew or film is beyond me. So yes, that was a thing. So after the whole collar situation got straightened out, it was time to work on the skirt. This skirt is super cool, and the detail that it has, I'm going to stand up so you can see it. This detail that it has here, I have this belt on because I didn't make one. But the way the pockets are here and how it has this hip pouch or whatever behind, and I chose to add the yellow there as well. I loved that detail of this hip patch or whatever, I don't even know what to call it, but I love the detail of it. It was a little confusing at first because you have to kind of clip in for that to be able to maneuver, and for a second I was confused about what to attach and where, but it started to make sense as I got going. So the next thing was to work on the flaps for the pockets. They were pretty simple. They only wanted me to interface part of it, and I guess this is from the times when you didn't just iron the interfacing on. So that's what I did. I only interfaced the top like they told me to. They wanted you to slip stitch it, or they wanted you to do something where you were sewing on some interfacing to the top part of this pocket flap or whatever. I didn't. I ironed on, interfaced it, of course, and then folded in half lengthwise, stitch one corner of it, and turn it to the right side. So yes, that was definitely simple enough. Super easy process. I'm not sure exactly what I have going on here where it is not, maybe that was supposed to be, that was probably supposed to be caught in the side seam a little bit better. But like I said before, I'm using stretch fabric in a pattern that 100% was not designed for stretch cotton. I am pretty sure it was not a thing. So I think that had something to do a little bit with proportions and how things laid, but got it on there. And then this is the hip pouch part thing, whatever I was talking about. I was confused at first, like, huh? How do I put this on here? But of course, always key is right sides together. So I stitched it on right sides together. Then I had to flip it back and iron it down. And yeah, that was it. And you see this little middle part, like that's the part that I struggled with, the little corner right there. But I just had to sew it to the side. And so, yeah, see, just like that. But it took my brain a little bit of a second to process that. So yeah, that's what I did. And that part was super simple. And then, of course, stitch the pockets together. This color combination, this is probably something that I would not have ever chosen before, but that I do really love and enjoy. And so as I'm getting more and more into sewing, especially vintage, I'm discovering a lot about my personal style and what I like and what I don't like, which leads you to discovering a lot about yourself. And so this is a great process. This was a great project. I would recommend to anyone. I mean, even if it's not just sewing, find something that helps you find different parts of yourself. And find friends and community. And this week, as we have been talking about this collaboration and posting and sharing, thanks. I mean, it's really all I can say. It has been wonderful. The people who have started to follow me on Instagram and sent me messages and said how excited they were for this project. It's been great. Okay, so back to the sewing. So then it was nothing left to do. Well, nothing. There was things to do. Point. If you can hear them, I'm so sorry, but I'm probably not going to edit this out because I feel like when you look pretty, as I think I do today, you have to show all the parts of your life, and that part is not pretty. It is not, my life is not glamorous as I feel right now, but I'm going to enjoy this. So yes, attach the skirt to the bodice, and then we were coming right along. The next thing to do was the buttonholes and the buttons, and I love these buttons. They were in my stash. Shout out to the stash. I'm starting to get so proud of the stash to be able to just go in there and get things that work for you, for what project you're working on, even though like they weren't bought together, they weren't intended for that. That makes me feel like a real sewist. So yes, I'm happy with the stash, and it's starting to feel like it's worth where my money goes. So I did the buttonholes, got the buttons put on, did the hem, of course. I did the buttons, the buttonholes, and I did the hem, and everything was going super well. Then we got to the sleeves. They did not want to fit in here. But I was never instructed to gather the sleeve cap. So I spent a while trying to ease them in, and they just would not go. Once again, in hindsight, this could have something to do with this fabric having this much stretch to it. And I ended up gathering them. I love the pucker and the puff in the sleeve, but I don't feel like it's symmetrical. I don't think it's identical on both sides, but that's something that I'm working out, and I'll figure out in the end. I'll figure it out at some point. And like I said, and this is my first time working with stretch fabric. So that's a whole nother thing that I'm sure I'll gain experience in, because I do like this stretch fabric. I like that I was able to fit a size pattern that otherwise I wouldn't have. I think as I work with it more, I'll be able to compensate for the stretch in different ways. And so that'll be insight I'm looking forward to gaining. Okay, and so with all of that, the beautiful dress is finished, and it was time to style. If you have watched some of my most recent videos or seen my posts on my Instagram, where I've been talking about how I am trying to merge my love for vintage fashion with my love for designer modern fashion. And so I ended up pairing it with this cute little Gucci belt and purse and Gucci sneakers. I I love the contrast of this beautiful vintage dress that makes me feel so super glamorous, especially with the hair and the makeup. I feel authentic to myself while wearing this. And so that is a really, really cool feeling. But I feel most authentic when I have merged the two. So I have on the beautiful vintage inspired dress paired with super modern Gucci sneakers and purse and belt. And that's who I am as a person. And I'm learning to be okay with that. That is me. I am this glamorous woman who loves to curl her hair and wear false eyelashes. And I'm also the same girl that wears the Gucci sneakers and the crossbody purse as I'm chasing around my two little kids. And so that's me. And I share this channel with my in real life friends and family because in a lot of ways, I think I was scared to be authentic to me in front of the world, I guess, or in front of people who know only certain aspects of me, or maybe I didn't want people to know that I am this big of a vintage nerd, or maybe even just to expose myself and really just put myself out there in this way that feels so vulnerable when you're creating things. And so I think this is going to be the video where I finally take that leap and share and say, yes, this is me. This is exactly who I am. I am a complete nerd, and I am still a little hip and young and fun mom too. I I create things and I fail, and I share that experience on the internet. And so thank you for watching it, whether you're my internet friend or my IRL friend. Thank you for watching it. Thank you for knowing me. Thank you for letting me be me. Um, and I hope that you all find a way to be your most authentic self, whether the world watches it on YouTube or not. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you in my next video that is soon and sure to come. And shout out to Miss Serena. Thank you so much for the lovely, thoughtful gift, for the messages where you're checking on me and seeing how my day's going with the kids, and for being a friend on the internet and IRL. So go check out her page. She's a wonderful woman, mom, and seamstress. So I think you'll enjoy it. Bye.